So I get quite a few requests from people asking me to do a full analysis of one of my heads. So I've created this one recently and I thought I'd use the opportunity to go over this one. Now the thing about doing tutorials is a lot of the stuff that I've shown before become redundant quite quickly for me. And I'm always thinking of new ideas and new ways of improving my rigs. And I think I've improved my head rigs quite considerably. Now I've been looking at the way people and animals do facial expressions and how they convey expression. And it was going back from my cat head rig tutorial that got me thinking about this. Now animals use their ears and their tails and their eyes to convey expression, especially within cartoons. So I've been looking at a lot of cartoons and Disney animations and stuff, and looking at, well, how do animators and people who draw and rig convey expression within their eyes and within their character rigs. So with human beings, I've noticed that they use a lot of their expressions come from their eyes, and not their eyes in particular, but their eyebrows. And I've been thinking of a way and trying to incorporate that into one of my rigs. Now, the way I've done my heads originally, my eyebrows were just single drawings of basic eyebrows. And I've taken a different approach this time, and I'm quite happy with the results. So I'm just going to jump into our head and give quite a thorough breakdown of what I've done. So because this is a demonstration rig, there are more bones than I would necessarily have for myself, but for the purpose of demonstration, I've added quite a few in. So if we was to look at our head, I'm going to break down the layers also, and I'm going to go into some of the reasons why I've made certain decisions as well. So if we start off at the top, we have a head turn bone which goes from left and right. Now it looks a bit funny because it's not on frame 1, but if we go to frame 1 and do our head turn, as you can see, it does a full rotation from front to back like most of my other rigs do. We have a up and down which does a full up, and as you can see his nose is there, and we have a full down. I'm not particularly fully happy with these two, but it's the first time I've tried something like this, and I can't figure out why it looks so flat in this angle, but it will do for now. So there are our first two bones, and all of these bones here should interact and work with our head turn and head up and down. So I want to look at his eyes. Now, as I said before, the eyes are used to give a lot of expressions within characters and in cartoons. And I've been thinking of a couple ways of doing it. Now, previously I used the eyes by themselves to try and give that expression. And I still have a hint of that, which I can use this bone here to close the bottom lids, and this one here just closes the top lids. And this so allows me to, I don't know if it's crying or do different eyes. We've got individual eye actions. So now we've got this one's not going. So we've got a left, and again these do the individual. And then we have here our lids. So we've got eyelids that we can use to close them as well. So if I render this out, this is what the lids look like now once they've closed, in opposed to using our eye bone to close the eyes. So I've rendered that out as well. So depending on how you prefer it, you can use both types. Personally, I prefer the way the lids look, so I tend to use those. But in regards to the eyebrows, now I think you get a lot of expressions through your eyebrows, and I've soon realized that a lot of the eye shapes that you see is easily done, well, especially a lot of eye shapes you see in cartoons, and the way the brow covers the eye and gives you, I don't know, like if you wanted to scowl or have a menacing look. I used to just try to modify the eyes in opposed to what I think is a better way of doing it now is by using the actual eyebrows. So I've got individual eyebrow actions here, and they go up and down. If I was to go to, I want to go back to frame 0. And then I've got these ones that go up and down on the left hand side too. And I've also got ones that do them both at the same time. And this is what I mean by there's a lot of bones here that I wouldn't necessarily have if it was for a rig that I was using. But this just allows me to do it easily. And then we've got a bone here which just tilts them to make it angry. So now you can bring them down. And again, if you look at his eyes, and if I rendered that out, you can see automatically he looks a lot more different. So I think the eyebrows for me is the way to go now, and I'll be doing all of my rigs now like this. And the way the eyebrows work is that they're in 2 separate layers, and they've got a back skin which matches the skin, and here we've just got a line that shows the top of the eye, and then on top of that we've got our eyebrow, and this is what covers the eye to give you the look of that, for instance. Now, something interestingly about the eyebrows also is if I was to use my head turn bone, I'll do it on frame 1 because the air doesn't seem to work on frame 0. And again, use my brow bones. You can see if you looked here, our eyebrow still works up and down the face, and you can see it still interacts with the nose. So again, if I was to render that out and show you what that looks like from the rendered perspective, we get something like this. And then I'll just do the other eyebrow. But interestingly, I think having this come off here, as you'd see in most animations and cartoons, people draw like this, but having it in a rig is quite problematic, I would have thought. But it's actually quite simple to do, and I think it adds a lot more realistic effect. I mean, even his forehead creases, if I was to render that out, you'll be able to see that a bit more. So adding these little touches to your rigs, I think adds another dimension to them, and it makes everything look a lot more professional and more dynamic, I would say. And it also works for the other side. So if I was to turn my head, again, this eyebrow works, and you can get different looks by playing with that side, bringing them down, rendering it out, and again you get a different eye look. Now that's the eyebrow side covered, I would say. And I think for me, as I said, I'm going to use this method from now on in all my rigs. I think you get a lot more better look, and it looks more dynamic, I would say. I've also got a pupil bone here which dilates them and makes them a little bit bigger. So that's the eyes and the eyebrows. I'm going to move on to our nose now. Now I have a nose up and down bone, and it takes it up and it brings it all the way down, which is nothing special. I've done that in my other rigs. But now I build this head slightly different, whereas the nose is its own layer and its own component. And if I was to do our head turn, I'll be able to show you a bit better. Back to frame 1. Okay, so now our up and down still works on our side view. If I was to render that out, get to see that I can move our nose up and down without any problems. And likewise, our eyebrows still work and still interact with the nose. So again, you get a more of a realistic look with a rig like this. And the nose again is done this time by drawing the nose out instead of having it how I used to do it would be just a few lines and representing the nose. And when I've done my head turn, I would use the points within the head to carve out the nose shape. Now our noses are just a layer of their own and they're properly drawn out. And now he has no nose. He looks a bit like that guy from Harry Potter. Now, what's his name? I don't even know his name. But yeah, he looks like him. And it's just about now drawing the nose out properly. And by taking that little bit of extra time, I'm able to have the nose interact and move about no matter which angle. Again, I have my face in. So that's something new also I've done with the nose, having it drawn out by itself and having it being able to be animated. So that's the top side of the face. If we looked at the bottom side now, also with our head, I now rig our head in two separate pieces. So I have the upper part and the lower part. And this allows me to just move the top portion of our head, and it's beneficial for when I do like head turns. It gives it like a bit of a swing and a slight easier scotch and stretch, or a different look, I would say, or conveying different emotions because it works from the side angle as well. Right, finally we can look at our mouth. Now these bones here control our mouth, and if we look, we've got our jawbone. I'm going to hide these two bones here. So we've got ones for our jaw, and I've got a new set of teeth opposed to the ones that I've shown in previous videos. This one's more cartoony, but we have again, we have one side for the lips and one side for the mouth. We have a teeth bone which just does the lower part of the jaw. We have something that allows the mouth to go wide, and then we can bring it in small to get your O actions and your different shapes. We've got a mouth up and down, so we can bring it up and down, and again, everything works. It's got its own bottom lip, which I'll show you that in a bit. We have a grin on both sides, so we can now do that. And we have a smile and a frown. So all of these should still work in conjunction with each other, and you should be able to get different mouth shapes, phonemes, whatever you need. And as I said, it also works no matter what angle. So if I was to turn my head here and again use all of these bones, if we look at his teeth react to the orientation of his head. So if I was to show you, I'm just going to open up the mouth and do the turn. Oops, what did I do there? Let me do that again. So I'm going to have our mouth open. I'm just going to turn our head, and if you look closely, the mouth, tongue and teeth adjust to the orientation of the mouth and the head, sorry. And I think again that gives it a more of a natural look, and it doesn't require you to have a separate head with a separate mouth if you have it all in one. Now it does take a lot more time, I guess, if you don't have the practice within it, but again I think the results are favourable and look much better. So yeah, the mouth works in no matter which angle or way that I put it. So again, you're able to do whatever you want with your head and get every single expression that you need. Even the jaw works from that angle with the teeth and the bottom lip, and the lip comes out over the mouth. So if I was to render that out, you'll be able to see you get quite a natural look. So we'll look at now, we've got these bones here, and these do, when our head is in our side view, we can now use these bones. Again, this is the same head. We can use it to now do the same function. We can use it to open our mouth. Now we can do that. So if I was to render it out, and you can have a look, everything works to get to see, and he has a proper profile view. We've got a smile, so we can, as I said, use all of these together to get yourself different looks for your character and your heads. I mean, it looks a bit weird because of the way the eye is situated. So I would just want to move our pupil left. We could even fix the eye. Render it out. So yeah, everything still works no matter which way that I put our character. And you can have one head. Now, how I used to do it was I had 4 heads. I'd have a head for the front view, a head for the both side view, and a head for the back. And for me, I'd have to use switch layers and flip them when I wanted to convey different things. And no, to me, it works, but I much prefer having this way, a rig like this, because it allows me to have a much more fluidity to my animations, which I'm unable to get with switch layers. So this is the head, and there's not much more I can say about it. The new features that I've added are the eyebrows, which I think make the head and facial expressions so much better. We've got our eyes, and as I said, I like the way our eyebrows now are interactable and can go up and down the head, which, as I said, makes it a lot more realistic. So this is the head, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want me to go over anything else, let me know in the message section. Keep messaging me and putting requests in. I'll keep making these videos as long as you guys want them, and hit that like button, subscribe if you want more videos, and yeah, check out the next one.